there. So.
Yes. Hello, I'm Stanley Krippner, and this is January 27th, 2014. And here we are at a Saybrook University retreat.
And for beginners, I'd just like to have you share a couple of stories. One of them had to do with your work with the drummers of the Grateful Dead. So I'll let you start from that at the beginning.
Well, when I was living in New York, I had a very gracious invitation by a young woman by the name of Jean Millay. She was having a party for her friend Alaraka, the well-known tabla player who was accompanying Ravi Shankar, the well-known sitar player, at Carnegie Hall. And I just happened to be going to that concert. So after the concert was over, I went to Jean's apartment. There was Alaraka, the guest of honor, and there was all sorts of Indian food delicacies that she had prepared. And she said, by the way, there's a drummer coming here tonight, and he is interested in hypnosis. He would like to talk with you. And I said, anybody who's interested in hypnosis, I will be delighted to talk to, especially if he or she is a musician. So as the party moved along, in came this young man with a block ponytail hairdo and wearing very dramatic black and white clothes and sort of a harlequin diamond-shaped pattern. And Jean said, oh, this is the drummer who wants to talk to you about hypnosis. And I said, fine, let's go someplace private so I can hear you and we can talk. So we went into one of the bedrooms, and he said that he was wondering if hypnosis could help him perfect or improve his musical ability, and also if he could use hypnosis with his students. I found out that he had been using some type of suggestion with his students, getting them to close their eyes, visualize practicing without the instrument, and then transferring what they did to the instrument. And I said, well, that's sort of a well-known procedure in hypnosis, so you're on the right track. And he said, oh, I want you to hypnotize me. And I said, well, if you're going to be in town for a while, you can come to Maimonides Medical Center where I'm working, and we can set up an appointment. And he said, by the way, have you ever heard much rock music? And I said, yes, I love music. And I love all kinds of music, and I like rock music. He said, have you ever heard of the Grateful Dead? I said, yes, I have heard of the Grateful Dead. I went to hear their concert 2 nights ago. And then he beamed from ear to ear. Then you heard me play. I play drums of the Grateful Dead. So that initiated a decades-long friendship. He showed up at Maimonides. When people heard that a Grateful Dead drummer was coming, they managed to take time off or go to the bathroom or go to get some water. We had a crowd of 50 people waiting for him as he came in. And after handshakes and autograph signing and all of that, we went down to our sleep laboratory and I did the hypnosis work with him. Very good hypnotic subject. And we dealt with some issues going on with in his life and did some behavioral rehearsal. And he said, now I would really like it if you could hypnotize me before I'm drumming. Next time you come to California, let me know. So 6 months later, I was in California, and I was staying at Mickey Hart's Ranch north of San Francisco, and he brought in Bill Kreutzmann, the other drummer, and we had off and on a full day of hypnosis work. And basically what I did is something that I learned from Milton Erickson's books, especially the work with time distortion, and I found out that Bill Kreutzmann was also very, very susceptible to hypnotic suggestion, and so I hypnotized them both at the same time, and they both had their drums ready, and I said, now time is going to slow down. What's 1 minute of ordinary time is going to be like 1 hour of hypnosis time. And they drummed accordingly, and all of this was tape recorded. And after maybe 20, 30 minutes of that, I said, now things are going to shift, and Time is going to shorten, it's going to speed up. What is a few minutes of ordinary time will be a few seconds of hypnosis time. And then they played accordingly, and of course the beat was completely different. And all of that was saved on tape, and then after the hypnotic session was over, they listened to it, and they learned from it, and it was remarkable to them. They thought they were playing exactly the same way as they ordinarily play, but they weren't. They were playing much differently. And so then we switched gears. I said, all right, now we'll do something else. And I hypnotized them again, and I said, now, you're going to be able to open your eyes, but everything is going to be red, and you're going to play like you're playing red. I told them a little about synesthesia and how people cross senses in synesthesia, and they might hear the color red, they might taste the color blue, etc., etc., etc. So they played red, and then after half an hour of playing red, I switched gears again and I had them play blue. And then half an hour or more of playing blue, I switched again and had them play green. Okay, so then they opened their eyes and they listened to all of the 3 tapes. Again, they thought that they were playing the same way as they ordinarily do, but no, the tempo, the rhythm, the percussion was very, very different. So that really seemed to work very well. And then with one other thing, and this was at their request, I said, all right, now just get together and put your arms around each other with one arm. With the other arm, you're going to be playing the same drum. And this was a little awkward for them because they were not used to playing with one drumstick before, but under hypnosis they teamed together, and I told them, you're like one organism, you're one drummer. And they pulled it off. After a few missteps, they really started to pull it off, and with a little bit of hypnotic suggestion, it was like they were one drummer playing one drum. That was quite remarkable. And to this day, they claim that that exercise alone changed the course of their drumming, and then in its own way, subtly changed the way that they interacted with the rest of the Grateful Dead. Well, the good news about this is that all of this is on tape. It's in Mickey Hart's archives, and should somebody ever want to exhume it or make a copy of it, I'm sure he'd be happy to do so. It was a very, very informal test. I was just sort of winging it, as they say, but they were both very happy. And they saw no need to do it again. They felt that they'd learned what they needed to learn, but we often refer to it in our conversations with each other. And like I say, it's all in Mickey Hart's vaults.
Well, just to follow that up to modern day, I believe there's an aspect of you being in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame related to that same incident, do I have that right?
Well, you gave me an idea. There is now a Grateful Dead archive at the University of California in Santa Cruz, and a copy of that, or the original of that, should be in their collection. I'm going to suggest that to Mickey Hart and to the librarian. That's a very good suggestion.
Because aren't you mentioned in the library there?
Well, in all modesty, I am. They have 20 display cases completed. There will be many, many more, but I'm in case number 2 because I was the first person from the scientific community to do a research article involving the Grateful Dead. Very specifically, I interviewed Bob Weir about his use of psychedelics and how that affected his music, and that was published in actually several articles I wrote about the use of psychedelics by artists and musicians. And so later, a couple of years later, I published an article about a dream experiment involving the Grateful Dead. And so now many, many articles have been written about the Grateful Dead by psychologists, by sociologists, by musicologists, even by philosophers. And there's a Grateful Dead Scholars Society. of which I'm considered the godfather because I did the first article of anybody. And that's held every year. I try to go as often as I can. The papers are absolutely fantastic. They're so interesting. And there are papers about what they call the Grateful Dead phenomena. Not only the Grateful Dead themselves, but the dead heads who followed them around and what has happened to them. Some of them turned out to become university professors and are now members of the Grateful Dead Scholar Society.